There we are. Cool. Welcome everybody to Rise Together. Back for another session. This is session 2 with the beautiful Kristen Wonch. So this series is a guest speaker series for women who desire to thrive in all areas of their life. The woman that wants to sleep more, eat more, fill her cup more, and wants to really make herself a priority and wants to leave struggle street for good. It's also for the woman who wants to make joy a priority and her happiness a priority, because how many of us actually don't? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sophie and I'm a coach and founder of the Thrive Guide. And it's my mission to empower women to ditch the old paradigm of survival and hustle and burnout and really embrace filling their own cup so they can thrive no matter where they are and whatever. No matter where they are, no matter what area of life, and no matter where they are right now. So Rise Together is really about bringing to light the struggles that so many of us have faced in our lives and the solutions that we've also found to some of these problems, and really celebrating each other and sharing some of those gold nuggets of wisdom. And it's about unpacking, especially with our amazing guests, what it really took for them to thrive in life. And I'm really, really excited to be introducing to you the amazing Kristen Wonch, our wealth ninja and the founder of Women's Money Mastery. And she helps women master their finances, clear limiting beliefs, and create a full roadmap from beginning end to end to have soul-aligned financial freedom. Women's Money Mastery has her 12-week signature transformational program, which I have done myself, and I've had the privilege of working with Kristen as well. But essentially, Kristen's gotten to where she is by, doing it rough through years of climbing the corporate ladder and spending every single cent she had. And she learned that to build wealth and to thrive with your finances, you need to master your mind first. So one incredible thing I think all of you need to know is that Kristen paid off 100K of debt and built a six-figure business without hustling, and lives in her dream life on the beaches of Costa Rica, currently in Mexico City, enjoying the travel life. So I think without further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to you. Welcome, Kristen. So awesome to have you here.
So good to be here. Thank you for that intro. And yeah, I'm really excited for this conversation and to be here with all of your beautiful humans on the other side.
Yes, definitely. So the way today is going to work is that we're just going to, same as last time, run through some really interesting questions so we can learn a little bit more about Kristen, what you do, but also how you got here, right? How you got here and some of those amazing gold nuggets of wisdom that you have to share with us. So you're ready to delve into it?
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, awesome. So question number 1, what's your favorite start to the day?
My favorite start to the day? I really like to start the day with movement. So when I'm at home in Mexico City, there's not a lot of surf. When I'm at home, sometimes I'll surf, or, today I went to CrossFit. Like, just being able to sweat and move your body, I feel like gets me into a state where I'm really energized and inspired for the day. I wake up pretty early, and ungodly early, nobody gets up as early as me. And that makes me, I just really enjoy being like having a real start to the day that's kick-started.
Yeah, cool. So what do? You surf in Costa Rica? That's how you like to start your day?
Yeah, sometimes I'll start with a meditation, if I'm not going straight to the gym or, don't have a class to go to. Meditation. I like to do 20-minute meditation, or sometimes I'll do Joe Dispenza's, which are super long. If anyone has ever done his meditations, you better strap in. But yeah, those are kind of some of the ways. And I'm a coffee drinker. So after the movement or the surf, there's always a coffee involved.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I know that in some of your posts, you like to call it play, right? I've seen you with your surfboard, and you've been waxing it. I think that's what you do, right? And you like to call it play. Tell us a bit more about that.
Playing in the morning?
Yeah, with movement. Or why do you like to call surfing play? Why is it play for you? Is that something that you
For me, like getting into my body and like really connecting with my body is so important. And like one of the reasons I think I love to surf is because it's so, yeah, you can just access things that you're out of your conscious thinking mind, right? Like you're just so present, you're so in the moment. And I feel like a dolphin, like I feel like a mermaid when I'm out in the water, right? Like you're one with the ocean. It's like, it is like this playful energy that you get to tap into, and like your phone is not there. Like you leave behind whatever is going on with the day. And like, really, especially if the waves are big, like you've got to be like, you're just trying to survive sometimes. So like, you can't be worried about what's going on in the world. Like you're just deeply present and like connected with, and nature for me is such a big thing.
Yeah, so it really grounds you, yeah, grounds you into your body and where you are right now in the present moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What a lovely way to start the day. Cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. So I suppose this one might be an interesting one, but I'm interested to hear, what do you do when life stresses you out? What do you,
Yeah.
because it happens to all of us, right?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think for me, there are, I find when I tend to be stressed is when I have a lot of stimulus happening. So like I haven't given myself, and it's actually happened like a few times traveling where like I've spent a lot of time connecting over the last month. You know, normally I live in Nosara and it's like in the jungle, and I spend a lot of time on my own, which is like, obviously I have friends there and stuff, but I live on my own. And since I've been traveling, I've spent a lot of time connecting to other people, and
Yeah.
there can be times when like it's very overwhelming. Like I was in Playa del Carmen and it's like this mini Vegas, and there's just like a lot of sensory input going on. And so I find when I feel stressed, sometimes it's just because a lot of stimulus is coming at me, and I haven't given myself the space to actually like ground back into myself. Like the meditation practice, or even just like the space on your own to not like be on the road or be like have people talking to your questions. And so I find for me, it's really important not just to have a meditation practice, but to like have a lot of space and like a really slow pace in my day. And so that's helpful as far as like calming the nervous system, because I think if your nervous system is activated, it's really hard to access any kind of problem solving, or it's really hard to access like the tools that you would normally go to, right? And so I think I think about it like when it comes to stress management, or any kind of emotional thing that you're moving through, it's really powerful to have different tools. So meditation can be one. Sometimes I'll do some breath work. Sometimes I will, I do a lot of belief work, right? And so like I have a tool that allows you to actually unpack what's going on in your mind. Like you've experienced that, right? So writing down like, what am I saying to myself in these moments? Because if I'm feeling stressed, it's coming from a belief I'm telling myself, right? So often, and this comes up for me a lot, I'll feel stress or I'll feel tense. And the belief that's happening in my mind is I don't have enough time to do everything. Or there's too many things to do and I don't have enough time to do everything. And so I'm feeling stressed because I'm believing I have more to do than there's hours in the day. And so just becoming like giving yourself the ability or having the tools to unpack, like, this is happening in my mind. And the feeling of stress is actually coming from a story that I'm telling myself. And that story, I get to decide if it's valuable or not. And if I want, I can choose a different story. So perhaps I can tell myself the story, everything that needs to get done will always get done. Or I can I'm a powerful creator of my day and I can focus on the most important things. Or that I don't need to do everything to create results. Like that all I need to do is the most important things, and that moves the needle. So like from that place, I get to make up any number of other stories that don't make me feel stressed. So from that place, when I'm telling myself that I don't need to do everything to create results, I feel excited. Like I feel excited and confident and powerful, right? And so and then just noticing every time your mind 47 times in one day, sometimes we'll try to go back to the other story. And it's like, no, that's available, but it's not helpful. And so I think those are some tools, and I think they're all valuable. I think if your nervous system is really activated, if you're in that fight or flight, your vision narrows, right? Like, and so you can't access, and I talk about this a lot with my clients, like when you're in fight or flight, or when you're in that like narrow focus, like you can't access creative problem solving. You cannot solve the problem. Like that tool that I just unpacked, and like the ability to change your beliefs and take action from that space isn't available for you if you're like hyperventilating, right? And so like I used to get very bad anxiety, and I don't anymore, because I've spent so long, using these tools and really giving myself the ability to be resourced. And so I can often just unpack those beliefs and like shift my beliefs in a second. And so I think that all of those things can be really powerful. Like, what I said before around movement, I think, and like having the regular movement built into my day is a non-negotiable for me, because it has those endorphins, and it keeps me in a state that I feel good a lot of the time. So I think everyone has to sort of figure out what flows for them. Me and my girlfriend are staying together, and she's like, I go cycling, or I go to spin class. And I was like, I couldn't think of anything worse. Like a spin, I just like, it does not get me into flow. It doesn't, of course it feels good, but like, there's nothing I desire about a spin class. And so I think for everyone, finding those tools that really support and work for you, and that is going to look different for everybody. And also just to, I think, create for people, there are going to be days when like a meditation works, and like that grounds you and calms you back in. And then there are going to be days when like you do every single thing in your toolbox, and you still just get to sit with the feeling of stress. And it's like, the feeling of stress is here because my body is trying to protect me, and it's telling me a story. And like sitting with the emotion, I think, is a big part of it, that like, it's just okay sometimes to feel it's okay often to just feel the emotion, right? Like to just be with it and have that be okay as part of the process.
Yeah, I love that, because it's something that I come across in my clients quite a lot as well, is when they say to themselves, I shouldn't be feeling this way, right? I shouldn't have this response, or I should have it all figured out. I've done this work already. Why am I still feeling this way? Mm-hmm. And it's this idea and this thing that we've created for ourselves, where we make ourselves wrong for what we're feeling or how we're feeling. And I really love that you highlight that, just how important it is to sometimes sit with that. And then because once we've sat with it, it kind of takes its power away, because it gives it that attention that it needs. And then often that's what kind of happens to me. That's when I can actually use some of these tools. So I do the same thing, breath work or meditation, or going out for a walk, or sometimes it's just taking a break and lying on the floor, those kind of things. Yeah. And I think that's really, that's really cool that this has come up now, because I think all of us experience that, and that it's okay to feel however you are feeling.
Yeah. I mean, you're human. So your mind is always going to create stories, and you're always going to have feelings, and some of those feelings feel good and some of them don't feel good. Yeah. And I think something people sort of treat some of this work, whether it's, the health and wellness stuff, or the limiting belief work, they sort of treat it like a mountaintop, like a mountain to climb. Like one day I'll get there and I will be like free of all these things. And I prefer to think of it more of like a muscle to build, right? Like you do the work, so you build the muscle, but there's still going to be days you go to the gym and you feel super weak, or you're just not on your A game. It's like, and that's okay. Like that's part of it. It's like the days you show up in those moments are where the muscle is really built, right? So so there's nothing that's gone wrong.
That's right. Yeah. It's how we kind of shift that perspective that's still showing up. And I think that's what I really love to see. I see it with my kids as well, is when they show up and they have a really shitty day, and they're still like, right, I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this way, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to figure out whatever I need to figure out. I think those are the moments that actually really count, because that really builds our resilience, right, as you said. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Cool. Let's just jump to our next question. I'd love to know, Kristen, what do you think is your superpower? The one thing that you think that makes you uniquely you?
Yeah, good question. I am a ninja problem solver. So I think that's what makes me such a good coach, is that I'm naturally curious. And so I can ask the questions that need to be asked to like uncover what's really there. And I can see patterns in my mind. And so I can see the things, like when I'm coaching with clients, I can see the things that they're missing, but I can also solve problems. It's like, what's working, what's not, what went wrong, like what can we try? And my brain, I don't know why, but my brain just naturally does it. And so it's also combined with the, sort of the intuitive ability to read people and to know when what they're saying isn't really what's going on,
Yeah.
and to be able to to challenge them and coach them through it with love, I think is like, it's such an art. And it's taken me a while to really understand that not everybody has that gift. But that is probably my biggest superpower. And I genuinely think it comes from the natural curiosity that I have. So like when I was younger, I always I'm constantly asking questions about the world. Why is it that way? And so I think that is what's sort of given me the ability to really cultivate that skill.
Yeah. So, would you then say that it's fair to say that your superpower, because you said that it's really informed by your natural curiosity and asking those questions, but that it is also a muscle, something that you've built over time by doing over and over and over again and trying different ways. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's definitely something that, again, it's like a muscle, right? Like you build it through not just the work that I do in coaching, but like I'm constantly looking. It's why I love business strategy, right? Like it's why I love, coming up with, solving problems for my own business. Cause it's like, the more you build the muscle, the easier it becomes. And the more fun it is in the process. So yes, it's definitely, I think there are things that we're all naturally good at. And then there are things that you intentionally cultivate and hone and build, right? And I think that process is really fun.
Yeah, cool. I love that. Thank you. That's exciting. All right, cool. So what's the one thing that you believed when you were younger that kind of turned out to be complete bullshit when you were an adult? Because I think we all have some of those.
Yeah. One of the biggest beliefs I had when I was younger, and I mean, this is related to the work that I do, but that there wasn't enough money. Like I believed that I believed that a lot was possible because my mom really created that for me. And I don't totally know why, right? Because we didn't come from a lot of money. There wasn't I'm from London, Ontario. It's not like I was surrounded by incredible, expansive community or anything like that. Like I grew up in East London, it was very, middle class. But my mom always always just believed that I could do whatever I wanted and created that belief for me. But one thing I deeply believed when I was younger is that there was not enough money. And I just believed it was a fact. There was never enough money. And it was something that I had to really intentionally rewire it later in life that no, that is so not true. And that took a lot of work.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about that. So what was the effects of this belief that you held that you didn't have enough money or that there wasn't enough money? What was the effect of that belief, holding on to that?
Always feeling in scarcity. So when I was in my corporate career, my trading role, I was making great money. I was at every new level of income, it always felt like there wasn't enough. And then I was spending all the money. And so there literally wasn't enough. But I was continuing to reinforce the belief that there was never enough, regardless of how much I made. And so I always felt contracted around money and very unsafe with it. Right. And so, that, and that, what you mentioned sort of in the intro, the process for me when I started working with my first coach, it was when I really started to shift that pattern that I had around money and the feelings. And I became aware for the first time that my beliefs are not facts, that it's not inherently true that there's not enough money. And I began realizing that was just a story and that there were other stories that were available. Right. And so that was the process for me around that. But that's the process around shifting every belief.
Yeah. So what's the belief that you shifted it to?
Oh, there's always more than enough. There's an endless supply, but also I can create money at any time. Yes. That's probably what I deeply have begun to realize is true, or not even realize. It's so funny because it's I think that it's a fact now, but it's also just a story. The belief that I deeply hold within my core is I can create money at any time. There's an endless supply of money not just in my bank account, but like available everywhere. There are clients everywhere. There's an endless demand for the work that I do in the world. And that is true for everybody watching this, everyone. That's not just because I teach money or I do a certain thing. That's like true, inherently true for everyone. There's an endless supply of clients. Like there are hundreds of thousands, there are millions of people that just have not found out about my work. And I am responsible for creating all of my results, and I can create money at any time. Like I'm not even in a launch and I signed a client today because I desired to do that and I made it happen. And so I think that that's one of the things that I realized over the years, or like have really shifted, is like out of the money just happens or it doesn't, and into, no, you actually can create money, and like you're responsible for all of it. And there's an endless supply. It's like pretending that there's not enough air. Like it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Right. You just walk down the road and people are spending left, right, and center. Like they're just, the volume of money that's changing hands just in this second that we're speaking is just incredible when you really think about that, right? Yeah. And I love that you said that, you know, because I think it's that's not enough is such a big thing, especially for women, but for humans, doesn't matter whether we're a man or a woman, but it's that not enough comes in so many different variations, and especially when it comes to money for so many of us. Right?
Totally.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad this came up. Awesome, thank you. So I know that you was it end of last year that you launched your podcast series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought this would be a really cool question, because through that podcast series, and also because I think you did quite a few sort of guest speaking gigs as well. You've had the privilege of meeting some really, really amazing, cool people, right? That if people you've crossed paths with. So who of those people or others inspires you? Who really inspires you at your core, and why?
Yeah. I have a couple mentors that I follow. Stacey Bayman is one. Melanie Ann Layer is another. I think I'm always attracted to women that have a very powerful energy, that are making an impact in the world. That Sarah Blakely is another one. She's the founder of Spanx. The other two are coaches.
She's amazing.
Founder of Spanx, and just like women that like, I love Sarah. I'll use her as an example, that have just like created insane. I have goosebumps as I talk about her. She's a billionaire, right? Like she was selling fax machines door to door, right? When she created Spanx. Yeah. And just, if you go back and like, there are heaps of podcasts on her journey and her story, it's like insane. But like, she sold a trial run into Neiman Marcus, and she would literally stand in one of the Neiman Marcus's stores, not paid, just like selling people these things so that they knew about them, teaching them how to use this new product, because she was so hungry to like get this product out into the world. And it's just really beautiful to watch a woman that's created such, you know, I feel financial success is a nice way to measure things, but the financial success is just a reflection of the impact they've made in the world, right? She's changed an entire industry, right? She's impacted like, I don't know, like probably millions of women. And she's done it in a way that's like, it's not typical to see a woman succeed at that level. Like the amount of barriers that she had to break through, and the amount that she had to be willing to lean into, and the amount of personal growth that's required, and the amount of the ability to face your own demons as you build a business, because you will face everything, you know, everything that's buried deep down that you don't want to face, all of your limiting beliefs, all the stories you're telling yourself, all the imposter syndrome. Like you have to be willing to go there and shift that in order to create a business. And so I really admire the women that do that. And especially women like Sarah that do it in a way that's like super playful. Like if you watch her and her husband, like I just look to them as like such expanders, because they live life in a really fun way. It's like, they're just like, she's playful. And like that for me is super fun. It's like, you can have a great impact in the world, and like, you know, wild success, and also like really enjoy life and like dance and play and not just be like a robot with money.
Yeah. See, and that's an interesting one. I'm really glad that you brought her up, because I saw an interview of hers as well, and she was talking about how when she came home from school when she was little, her dad used to ask her, "What did you fail at today?" And she would say, she'd tell him what she failed at, and he would high five her for that. And I just really love that, that we're celebrating ourselves for what we deem as failures, but also for our successes. We celebrate ourselves for all of it. And I think that if, when we speak to other people who we maybe measure to be successful or financially successful, especially, most of them will say passion was a driver. There's a passion, there was a play, there was a hunger there, but it was about, the enjoyment of living out that passion as well, that had a huge impact on keeping them on their path and keeping them going. And I think that's so beautiful, and I think so current for us, where we live in a world where we're now, I think, as a society, starting to rewire that we don't have to hustle, and we don't have to work in a job that we hate for the rest of our lives to make ends meet or to have financial success. We actually get to have fun at the same time, and that's freaking cool, right? I think that's awesome. Yeah, cool. I love that. So this brings us to our last question. And that is, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Yeah, like just that it's all going to be okay. Like, I think I spent many years when I was younger just worrying if I was going to, like, trying to be successful, right? Like, I think when we're younger, we're taught, and this goes back to your thing that you said about Sarah, is like, that failure is bad, right? And so to be successful, you have to check boxes, and you have to be loved, right? From our parents and then society. It's like, you have to check these boxes and be successful. And it's like, I think as women, we're constantly trying to be perfect, right? And if we're not perfect, or if we're failing, it's like something has gone wrong. And I think I spent many years like just trying to, and it's still my tendency, like perfectionism is a real thing in my brain. But I think that I would just tell my younger self, like, just not relax, because it would demean, it would undermine what she was genuinely experiencing. But I would just instill in her the confidence of, like, knowing it all works out. Cause, like, I'm here and I can feel it, like, you don't need to worry, And I think that's so valuable. Like, anytime, you tap into your future self, it's like, if you think about your future self 5 or 10 years from now knows that it's all good. Anything you want in the future is, like, already happened, and she knows it. And so, like, really just allowing your now self to feel that. And for my 16-year-old self, like, for her to connect to that certainty, I just think is like, she would give her space to just enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. And it will really up her confidence, won't it?
Yeah.
Having that feeling, that certainty. Hey, yeah. Because I think it's so many of us struggle with that, and I think for me, that was such a big part of my journey as well. Just having the confidence to go for what I wanted, and having the confidence to really push myself out of the comfort zone, and having the confidence to not accept no's, and to just keep going until, and just having the confidence that everything will work out. And that's so beautiful. And I wish that for every woman, I wish that for every human. So what a beautiful thing to say to your 16-year-old self. Give her that gift, right? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. This was beautiful. That brings us to the end of our questions, but is there anything else you want, you want to say, anything else you want our listeners and watchers to hear, or to know about, any gold nuggets of wisdoms, or anything about your program, or anything that you'd like to share, whatever's on your heart?
Yeah. I think for me, like, one of my deepest philosophies in life is, like, anything is possible. And I think for more women to not just hear me say that, but, like, know that to their core, that, like, anything they want is available to them. And I know that so deeply in my bones because of what I've watched clients create, but what I've created for myself, right? Like, anything you want is available, right? And I think that more women need that in general, but also, the work that I do around money, there's so much that women aren't taught around money that is way more simple than you think. And so, I mean, the one program that I run is my Women's Money Mastery program, which is actually a 6-month program now.
Oh, cool.
But it is, it's an end-to-end roadmap for financial freedom, for wealth. It teaches women how to earn more, you know, without hustling, how to get really clear on like what is going to turn on that money faucet for them, how to spend intentionally without like feeling deprived, and how to create wealth with investments in a super simple way that's not like complicated and doesn't require you to be a day trader. It's like set it and forget it, but it's not confusing like everything else on the internet. And like the core of the, you know, the foundation of all the work is understanding and really being able to shift and dissolve your money blocks through those limiting beliefs. So that's the work that I do. And I also have a podcast, like you mentioned, it's called The Wealth Equation. So if people are excited to learn more about the money stuff or to hear amazing interviews with self-made women, you know, 6, 7, 8-figure earners, and hear their stories around wealth and like what it really took. I take people behind the scenes, and, you know, back to that whole curiosity thing, I love to ask questions. And so it's like super juicy. You get a lot of different perspectives from a lot of women that have done things in a really different way. And so if anyone wants to tune into that, just search The Wealth Equation on Apple or iTunes or any of those platforms. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm sure you'll pop all my links in the notes, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And like I said, it's just my deepest desire that more women feel confident with their life, feel confident with their money, and just know that anything is possible for them, because it is. It is.
They all get to thrive.
Yes. Thank you
Beautiful.
for the work. I'm always, you know, I'm such a fan of your work, but like the work that you do is so needed and so important around giving women, you know, permission to really take care of themselves and really feel supported, you know, and from all directions. And, you know, as you build your business, as you do life, as you know, do the money stuff, as you do all the other stuff, like taking care of yourself is like such a critical piece of that foundation. And so, yeah, thank you so for everything you do.
Thank you. Yeah, and definitely, you know, I believe that too. I think first comes the taking care of ourselves, because how many of us don't? And I think, you know, for women especially, we tend to prioritize other people first, and there's a beauty in that too, you know, that love and that support, and want to give that to others. But if we were to extend that same love and support that we extend to others to ourselves, we could be giving so much more, right? Like the more we take care of ourselves, the more we can give to others, and it becomes this beautiful you know, circular thing. And yeah, so thank you so much for for being with us here today and sharing your wisdom and your love and your thoughts. And, you know, I love what you do. Obviously I love, because I've done your program. It's been really beautiful to watch also the stories of the women unfold in your container and my container, and how some of these things also converge. So that's been really beautiful to see. So thank you for being here.
Can I take a little boomerang of us? Hold on.
Definitely.
Okay, hold on.
I'll do this.
Get it on the ground. My goodness. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Think so.
Hang on, I'm going to do the same. And then we'll photo it. Cool. Look, okay. It's still one more. Cool. Awesome.
Girl.
Thank you so much, lovely.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Ciao,
Bye.